What's going on YouTube? It's Donnie all day. It was brought to my attention that I haven't done a cooking video in a while. So I thought, well, then what am I going to make? So I went to the store and I got a bunch of stuff and I'm going to do my own gourmet meatloaf. So this is going to be really good. You're going to need a couple of eggs because it's a binding agent. That's what eggs are for. It just holds it all together. But I'm going to also use some of this as a signature reserve tomato garlic red sauce. You think, red sauce, but you just said you're making a meatloaf. But I did call it gourmet, so that's what we're going to do. So I also have some shaved steak, right? Shaved steak and salami. And people are going to wonder why I'm doing shaved steak and salami. It makes your meatloaf into a steak bomb, which is amazing. So you need those. And what I need to do is cut those up really small. So that's going to take a little while. But I also have, because I need a little bit of fat in there, I got some ground beef. I just noticed 93% lean, 7% fat. Well, if it's 93, then it's definitely 7%. They didn't need to put that on there. But I'm using some ground beef. And I'm also using, and that's a pound of that, a pound of Wagyu beef. That was my dog literally saying that. And I'm using a pound of ground bison and on the top, some bacon. Now, when you make meatloaf, there has to be a certain internal temperature before it's right, because what happens is people usually mix like lamb, pork, or chicken, ground chicken, into their stuff. And those kind of meats, the white meats, really need to be at a certain temperature to serve, where red meats don't. So you can be a little bit more loosey-goosey with your internal temperatures. You don't have to worry about it. Like if I was going to add lamb, chicken, pork into my meats, then I would have to, it's like 40 to 60 minutes for every pound. And I'm looking at 5 pounds here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pounds of meat here. And that would take forever. That would, be almost a 5-hour meal to cook. The only pork I'm doing is going to be the bacon, but that's going to be across the top. So I don't have to worry about internal temperature. You can actually see when bacon is cooked. So with this, not doing any white meats and just doing reds, it gives you a lot more versatility in how you want it cooked, because I could open that up right now and eat the raw meat and I'd be fine. But you're not doing that with ground chicken. You know what I mean? So first things first, I need to just empty my meats into a big bowl. And so I'll just put all the beefs in there, and then of course, aside from the bacon, and then I'm going to cut up really small my salami and steak, and I'll show you where I'm at. I just noticed that this video is this way, and that's how I film shorts, and that's my initial thought was I'll just do a short, but there's so much involved in this thing, I had to do it long, so you'll have to forgive me for the format. Sorry. All right, so I got all my meats mixed up. That is a whole lot of salami and steak in there. Now, best part about this is this wasn't thought of. This wasn't some recipe that I had sitting around. This is something that I went to the store and I said, all right, I want to make a meatloaf. What am I going to do? And instead of making a traditional meatloaf, I said, I want to make something that's just bonkers. It'll blow the taste buds out of my face. So this whole thing is kind of as I go. I pick the meats through just the simple thought of what would be great together. High-end meat, Wagyu and bison, and then you pair that with salami, shaved steak, and regular beef. You can't go wrong. So that's how I came up with this. And then to choose to do this just popped in my head because you always put ketchup on the top of meatloaf, and I thought a tomato-based sauce, but what about a gourmet sauce? That would be freaking phenomenal. And so that's how this all came about. So this is just me creating in the kitchen. That's the best part about cooking when you're talking about cooking and baking. is baking. You have to follow things to the letter for them to come out right. With cooking, you can just make this stuff up as you go along. And I think this is going to be phenomenal. So what I'm going to do next is I'm just going to break up a couple of eggs, put it in there, and then put in some sauce. And I'll probably put in maybe, I don't know, a cup or two of sauce. And that's another good thing is you just do whatever you want. It doesn't matter. So I'm going to put in 3 eggs and just mix it all together with the sauce. And then I'll be halfway there. So the reason we call this meatloaf is because traditionally you use a bread loaf pan and you put a bunch of meat in it and you make a loaf of, instead of bread, a loaf of meat. I'm using a lot of meat. Look how thick that is. So I'm not doing it in loaf shape, but it really doesn't matter what shape it is. It's still meatloaf. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put bacon across the top, and then I'm going to preheat the oven to you can do it 350, 375. I'm going to do 375. Actually, no, I'm going to do 350 and cook it a little bit longer and a little bit slower. So with the bacon, all I'm going to do is lay it across the top in strips. Now remember, bacon shrinks when it's cooked. So don't worry about, if you're going to do this, don't worry about overlapping bacon or having bacon touch, because it's going to shrivel up a little bit in the cooking stage. But I'm going to put some bacon on and I'll show you what I'm looking at. Oh, I can't press pause. All right, and just like that, we have a meatloaf ready to go in the oven. All right, I'm in the oven now, and I'll see it maybe in 2 hours. All right, it's been 2 hours and 20 minutes, and I think it's done. Time to give it a look on the inside. And you always put your pan inside of like a baking sheet, because you don't want all that spillage to come over. Oh, that is done. That is done. It's ready for my favorite part. Hold on. That's not just done. That is beautiful. You could see the steak and the salami all throughout this thing. Oh, I got to take my bite. All right, I'm so excited for this. Oh, man, the way that meat breaks up. Oh, there's some of that salami and that steak in there. Oh, I dropped some. Bon appetit. Okay. Wow, that flavor. So the salami just jumps off the palate. Not only that, but that tomato sauce. Oh, that garlic. Where's my knife? Where's my knife? Oh, Shanzu, some of the best kitchen knives in the world. All right, so the dog is trying to sniff up my arm. Get out of here. This. This is remarkable. It was probably done like 10 minutes ago, 15 minutes ago. I was outside painting the basketball court. Lost track of time. I came back and caught it right in time. It's not dry. Oh my gosh, that was close. Another 10 minutes, this thing would have been dry. It's still delicious, but it would have been dry. Oh, get a little bit of that bacon in there. All right, see, I can show you how moist it is. Oh, the steam is steaming up the lens, but right there you could see how absolutely moist this thing is. I caught it right in time. This is one magical piece of meatloaf. Now, if you are the person, and I love ketchup on the meatloaf on the top, ketchup, a little brown sugar, you mix it together. But doing gourmet, I wanted to trap all the flavors I put in there and not mask them by anything else, or from anything else, or with anything else. And it worked. This is one delicious, delicious meatloaf. That was fantastic. So, now you know how my brain works when I go to the grocery store. This thing is amazing. If you love to cook, even if you don't love to cook, this is super easy. All I did is mush together a bunch of meat, stick it in the oven. Damn! That is freaking delicious. All right, so that's it for this one. I'm going to go eat. I am Donnie all day. Till next video.